everybody. Welcome back to another episode of I Live for This podcast with myself, Chantel Sparkles, and
Trinity the Talk.
girl, I'm so excited for this episode because I just discovered Roz Hernandez. That's our guest for today.
Yep.
And I have been following her for a few weeks now, and she is so funny. Have you looked up a lot of her content?
Yes, of course.
I just wanted to make sure.
Yeah,
But she's
funny.
hilarious.
She's beautiful.
And she talks to ghosts.
I was gonna say, and she talks to the dead, sweetie.
Yes, which is my bitch. I want to know everything about the
Girl, I'm gonna
dead.
ask her. I'm gonna be like, you are a medium, so medium.
And
me.
the ghosts always tend to call people like crazy names, so I'm so curious to see what's gonna happen. But we'll get to that in a little bit.
Yeah. So let's start with our game. Yeah.
Yeah. We're going to start out with our game called Battle the Besties. We've been doing that for the past couple weeks. So we just kind of ask each other 3 questions and we try to see if we can answer them. If we don't, then we're awful best friends. So why don't you start out first?
Okay. So my first question to you is, what school club was I a part of?
That's a good question for me to bounce back off of you. I feel like you were in drama.
No, girl. No.
You were in band because you liked putting something in your ass.
No, and I'll tell you this. I wanted to be in band, but I wanted to play the drums. And my grandmother said, absolutely not, because we were poor. She said, if you want to be in the band, you're going to play the clarinet, because my sister was in the band years ago and we had an old clarinet, her old clarinet.
So you put that clarinet up your ass.
And I said, bitch, I'm already really gay. I cannot go in there playing this little flute thing, bitch. No, right. I'm going to let you have one more guess.
You were in...
It's a very popular nationwide club that...
Track.
No. It was 4-H club.
Oh, well, God. So you swung around the flags? Wasn't 4-H the flags?
No, girl. That is color guard.
Oh, color guard. What is 4-H again?
4-H is like, it encompasses a bunch of stuff. It's like a program. I think it might be a Christian-based program, but I mean, I didn't do anything like that. It's like there's a lot of like gardening, baking, homemaking, stuff with animals.
Okay. We had that at our school. I wasn't really interested in it.
Oh, I loved it. And then I got so far in there with it that when I got into like middle school, they would start having me go to the elementary school and judging the newer 4-H members, their like baking competitions and stuff like that. And so me and the other older 4-Hers had to go and like taste these god-awful baked goods. It was disgusting. Anyway, what's your first question?
Mine, I'm going to just bounce back off of yours. What was I a part of in school? As far as like after school programs?
Getting on your knees for your math teacher. Honey,
bitch, I wish, because my math teacher was hot.
I'm gonna say you did.
I was a part of 2 different ones, so I'll give you 2 chances.
Okay. I'm gonna say choir.
No.
Okay.
I was a part of choir for the city because as a kid, I got accepted into this orchestra choir group, but that wasn't for school.
I'm gonna say football.
Bitch, you really think that?
No.
And my fucking skinny ass?
What were you? What 2 were
I'll
they?
tell you both. So the first one, I was a part of a breakdancing after school program.
What in the Australian disqualification is going on?
Girl, there was an after-school program for breakdancing. Yeah.
I would have never guessed that.
Yeah, girl. I loved breakdancing growing up. So my mom was a breakdancer when she was a kid.
And your mom?
Yes,
what?
Girl.
The Twilight Zone?
So my mom, her name was, I think it was Lily. I think her name was, if I'm not mistaken, when she was a kid.
Her breakdancing name.
Her breakdancing name, when she was a part of the breakdancing groups.
Oh, wow.
But she kind of talked about it, and then I was like more curious about it. And then I joined the group when I was in school. It was fun, but it wasn't what I expected. So I quit shortly after. But the next one that I really loved was Step. Have you heard of Step?
I've heard of it.
Step is where you do the clapping and stuff with your hands and you
Oh, yeah,
like
yeah, yeah, yeah. Uh-huh, yeah.
yeah, I was the only white person on my team, but they lived. They were like, this fucking white boy knows how to step. Cause like we would actually like turn it. We would actually go to like different schools and like compete
And
and stuff.
compete.
Yeah, we were in the competition. We did pretty good.
I
But
was
I
in
would
I was in another one. I forgot that I was in one more club.
do you want me to guess?
Yeah. It was kind
Um,
of athletic, kind of.
was it swimming?
No, it was jump rope.
They had jump rope at your school?
Uh-huh. And I remember that we our first competition and the only one because I quit after that. Our competition song was Eye of the Tiger. That dun 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 dun
Yes.
dun 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 dun.
Yes, I love
Uh,
that. Okay,
yeah.
what's your next question?
My next question is, out of all of the cities in the world that I've visited, what is my favorite city?
I would probably say you didn't like Japan. You told me that. It was
I did like
overrated.
Japan.
You told me it was overrated.
No, I didn't. This
Bitch,
is
I
that's
told you that was my favorite, and you're like, it's not as good as I thought it was gonna be.
No, I never said that. Nope, not
I
about
will
Japan.
find the fucking text, bitch.
It was not about Japan. I love Japan. The
Okay.
food, yeah.
So was it Japan?
No.
Was
Uh,
is it a
I'm gonna give
country?
it is in a country, yes.
Can I guess the country?
You can.
Europe.
Okay, everybody listening, this is what I'm talking about.
What?
My relationship with this bitch has been this for our entire friendship. Goes
I said
all
it
the
so
way
sure too.
goes it goes all the way back to, is Hawaii a country? Girl, Europe is not a country.
It's a continent.
It's a continent.
Yes, but they're okay.
You
Then I would say
stupid
Asia.
bitch. Huh?
Asia. Asia.
Asia's also not a country. It's a
So
continent.
okay, so those big,
That's like,
huge
girl, what are
were
you doing?
continents. I don't know then, bitch. You asking me shit that has
You
nothing to
are
do with
so
drag. I never said I
stupid.
was smart. I told you I was creative.
Okay, so I'll say it, I'll break it down easy for you. The continent that it is on is Africa. The country that it is in is South Africa.
Oh,
And
you
the
had so much
city
fun there. I remember that.
and the city is Cape Town.
Yeah, I remember because you went to go film your movie for
Yeah,
what's
I've been there
the
a couple
streaming
of times.
service again called?
Who for
It's the free service.
I know you
How are you not gonna know where your movie's at?
Tubi.
Dumb bitch. Tell everybody where your movie is.
Tubi, it's called Slay. It's got me, Heidi, Crystal, and Carmel, and you can watch it for free on
And it's
Tubi.
actually really funny. I'm not being biased. Like I genuinely laughed. I thought
All
it was
right,
gonna be
what is your next question?
okay. I was gonna get into that bitch. What is my favorite type of video game?
Horror, slasher,
I
thriller.
guess, but there's different genres.
I don't know.
Guess.
Horror. Fantasy.
You got it close. It's RPG.
Oh, girl, I don't even know what that is.
RPG fantasy role play game. Role
Oh,
play is kind of like
okay.
Dungeons and Dragons, but it's like fast paced.
Yeah. Okay, cute. We are
Yeah.
being horrible today. Your last question for me is, what is my biggest drag accomplishment?
You
Out of everything that I've done.
I would say your movie that you did.
Nope.
Because you were like a main character in that.
Yeah, I was the main character, but yes, no, that's not my
Then what is it?
When I won EOI.
I think that's your greatest accomplishment for sure. If it was definitely
Because I worked the hardest for
pivoted
that.
you to Drag Race and
Right.
everything else that you have accomplished. But I will say, as far as current events, your biggest, I think, is your movie because it was mainly all about you and like the main cast. You
Yeah.
weren't a side character like RuPaul's show.
Yeah, no, that was also fierce. I would love to do another one. Okay, what's your last question?
My last question would be, what is the name of the hometown that I grew up in?
I think you've already asked me this. Wasn't it Fort Myers?
Oh, I did ask you that. Okay, well, that's the question.
Well, you asked it again, and I got 1 out of the 3 right, and you got none right. So I win.
Damn.
I
Okay.
won. I won the
Woo!
Battle of the Besties this week with 1
Well, with
right.
that being said, on all this awfulness, I'm super excited to bring on our guest, Roz. She's super funny.
Yes, I'm excited too.
Hello.
Hi, Rob.
Hello.
How are you?
Good. How are you?
So good. Nice to meet you both.
Nice to meet you.
Nice
We're
to
so
meet you.
excited to have you.
I
Aw.
love your ghost tattoo. That's gorgeous.
Oh my God.
Yes. So you are, where do you live? What city do you live in?
Tinseltown,
Okay,
Where's
cute.
that at?
Los Angeles, California.
Oh,
Is that
where?
where you're originally from?
I grew up in Michigan, but
Oh
I
my gosh, I have family there. My dad and my siblings grew up in White Lake, outside of Detroit.
oh, I grew
I
up
don't
in
know where that's at in the
Michigan.
hand. Isn't that like somewhere in the hand?
Girl, I don't know. Talk to the hand. I was there. I never go back to Michigan, but I was just there 2 days ago doing a Pride in
Ooh.
September, which was so great. But
What do you do with the prize? Do you do like shows or do you like do stand up? What do you do?
yeah, I'm a stand-up comedian, and so yeah, I just did like a show. It was fun. And then I was gonna say I've lived in LA for 15 years, so
Ooh.
Yeah, so you're from there now, yeah.
yeah.
You're just melted into it. I really like LA. The problem with me with LA is it's just so freaking expensive. And y'all have to pay like these crazy taxes there.
Yeah, I mean, listen, I totally agree with you, but also it is like so great.
I bet. I know. I feel like I'd have to do my drag race gigs and suck dick on the side just so I can afford it.
Um,
Which
I
I
just
live.
think it's yes, it is so expensive, and I don't want to sound like I don't know some kind of political thing here, but I'm like it is kind of a luxury place. Like I
Yeah.
do think that you should like it shouldn't it deserves to be expensive for some reasons because um the weather, the like I mean
Everything's at your fingertips. There's so much to
there's
do.
everything. Like
Yeah.
even if you look at like Grinder or something, like there's
There's so much
so many
opportunity.
options. There's like everything ever here. So there are reasons to live here for sure if it's your vibe. But yes, it's expensive for
Which
sure.
speaking of Grinder, I saw one of your videos where you did like a Grinder hookup and you like asked him to help you talk to ghosts or something like that. That shit was hilarious.
Thank you. Well, it's not a hookup, but I I just recently started this YouTube series where I go and stay in haunted hotel rooms by myself.
Mm.
And I've been doing a thing where I find people on Grinder to join me. Like I find
Okay.
like a person every town I go to. Um and yeah, anytime that I've done it so far, I've done 5 of them now. And anytime there's guys that are like looking to hook up, I'm like, no, I want to find fucking ghosts and I'm
I want some
paying for
ghost
this
dick.
hotel room. I don't have time. Like
I want the
I don't
spirit inside of me, not you.
Right,
yes,
that
and I
part.
don't want like that's the least sexy thing I can imagine is like the thought that there could be some creepy invisible person watching us right now that has magical powers possibly. Like I can't
And
focus on
judging your Grinder hookup.
Does that
yes.
like do you feel that as like do you how do you what do you consider yourself a medium?
No, oh my God, girl, I'm a stand-up comedian. I'm a
Okay.
stand-up comedian, a former drag queen, and so I have been doing comedy for all these years, and then I started doing a podcast like 5 years ago, and
What's
I
it
think
called?
Ghosted, right?
it's called Ghosted. Yeah.
And
Yeah.
where can people like find that?
Well, we're all on
Well,
podcast places like
you know,
Well,
Apple.
I'm just wanting to get a little
we
plug.
just ended September, but it was Apple Podcast Comedy Podcast of the Month.
Work.
It is everywhere you get podcasts.
Okay, cool.
But when I started it, everybody was like, "Oh, you should have like a theme, something to talk about," and I was like, I don't know. I guess I like talking about ghosts. So I started doing that, and now I'm known as like the ghost bitch. But honestly, I'm a stand-up comedian first and foremost, and I tour and yeah, I'm not a medium. I don't have like any abilities whatsoever when it comes to that kind of stuff. I'm just silly and I wear dresses and I'm fascinated by ghosts as well.
I love that. I'm not so much about just ghosts, but I love like murder mysteries. I love any type of like interesting deaths. We just started actually on this podcast a couple of podcasts ago, a segment where we talk about interesting deaths, and we're gonna get into that too because there's some really cool ones that Tracy found. But let's start some of our topics. I want to get perspective from y'all on. I just saw where Rebel Wilson just marries her wife. And I don't know if y'all saw the pictures of the wedding, but both of them were absolutely gorgeous in their wedding gowns. And Rebel has this amazing, it looked like something Chantel would wear or make the finger wave hair. It was just absolutely gorgeous. I'm excited for her to have like come out because I feel like in Hollywood, it's really hard as a queer person if you're not out
That's what I'm saying.
to come out. So I'm really happy that they were able to come out and now they're married. Did anybody see like the pictures of the wedding?
I just saw it.
I didn't
Okay.
know. I had no clue. Congrats to her though.
Chantel, did you said I
I'm
love
looking at the picture of them right now. Yeah, they look gorgeous. And I think that what you said is very true. Where like if you're not already coming into Hollywood, I feel like gay or lesbian, whatever, it's hard for you to like come out if you're not.
Well, uh, the whole thing with like this Diddy thing, and this is not a great topic to pair with Rebel, and I don't mean to. It's just it makes me question like how many closeted gay people are in the industry that like feel like they can't come out, and so they do crazy, stupid shit like Diddy has done because they are craving that whatever that is, and just go the wrong path. There's so many questionable gay people in Hollywood. Like I would love to know if Shawn Mendes really is, because girl,
Oh, bitch.
hey, hi,
He's
I'll wear a
fine.
wig for you.
But
Ellen's former employees blast her delusional Netflix special because she's basically making money off of the fact that she was a horrible person, and her that's what her Netflix special is about. What do you guys think about that? Especially Raj, you coming from that world. How do you feel about Ellen making money off of the misfortunes of how she treated people?
No, I haven't seen it. The thing I've always kind of felt is a mistake with people is um being the nice, like the being your best friend is their persona, and like I'm always nice and I'm be kind. Like didn't she always say like be kind at the end of her show or something like that? Um because I think about someone like Chelsea Handler, who's like the sharpest tongue in Hollywood. She tells it like it is. If you went up to her and she was eating dinner and you're like, "Hi, can I take a picture?" and she's like, "No, fuck off." You'd be like, "Oh my God, she did the thing that I love her for."
yeah, she's already put the stamp.
But like if you're always like, be kind, be nice, and then but you're really not, because nobody's perfect. Like everyone's can be a monster at times, and I just think that that's like such a mistake. I wish she would have just been like badass Ellen, like, yeah, I'm a nightmare.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because you can kind of see it, like if you now that like all that came out, stuff started clicking. Because you can kind of see it, because like there's like cracks in the facade sometimes where she's a little bit rough around the edges with how she comes across with some of her guests. So I don't know how to feel about it. I feel like stand up is supposed to be edgy. It's supposed to be in your face with topics like that. But I mean, I feel like Ellen, yeah, she was probably a mean girl, but like she wasn't like, as far as I know, like sexually exploiting people. So that's a little different being just mean. So it's not really as big of a deal, I think.
I agree with
As
Ross saying that though. Like if people just would stop putting such a stamp of what they want their brand to be instead of just kind of like, you know,
Just
letting it
make it
be.
easier on yourself. Just be real.
Yeah, that's how I feel.
Roz, do you watch Dracula since you like ghosts and things?
No. I
Ah,
I don't. I used to, when the first season came out, I was watching it because I knew a lot of those girls. And but I used to always have a rule. I only watch TV when I'm eating dinner.
mm.
And they were eating like fucking pig vaginas.
They were,
that-
bitch.
I don't know what the hell they were doing. And I'm like, I can't watch this.
Do you
Yes.
watch any kind of horror movies?
Yeah, I do love horror movies for sure. But
What's your favorite horror movie?
oh my God.
What's
I
your
don't
favorite
know.
scary?
Probably I love Scary Movie,
Scary
but
movie.
that's not really a horror movie. I love Carrie. I love The Exorcist. I love
You like the
a lot of the
OGs.
classics.
Yeah,
Suspiria. Yeah.
Word.
weird. Well, how did you get into like this theme of ghosts? Like what I know you said when you started your podcast, people were like, you have to have a point of view. Is that really what started it? Like
Yeah,
I'm
pretty
interested.
much. Um, I also just kind of like I would watch like ghost hunting shows and stuff like that, but I just didn't feel represented. I didn't feel like there was very much queerness. I did not feel like there was comedy or at least like, oh, there's like people with a sense of humor, but like somebody that has experience like writing jokes for people and performing and like all has like a different understanding of comedy. I'm like, I want to see that. Like I feel like there's so much potential for this to be funny. And I also loved, there used to be the show called Celebrity Ghost Stories where celebrities would tell their ghost
I
stories.
think I remember this.
Yeah, and that show went off the air, and I'm like, "Ugh, I want to hear celebrities' ghost stories. And I'm like, okay, well, I know a bunch of celebrities, so then I just started having them come on, and then yeah, I've just done it every week for I think like almost 6 years.
Have you had like a crazy experience, like for real with a ghost? That's probably like your scariest.
Yes, I mean, my whole thing is that it's all like skepticism for me, which a lot of people confuse. I think that they hear the word skeptical and they think it means I don't believe, but it's not that. I totally believe that literally anything's possible. I just think that there's an explanation for like most things. I'm always just like
You're
looking
logical.
I'm looking for the things that there's no explanation for because I'm sorry, I'm a grown adult. I'm not a fucking crazy person. Like if we can explain something as like, oh, that was the pipes in the walls. That wasn't it wasn't an invisible human that is dead now knocking on the wall. Like, come on. But I I've had a couple of things where, and by the way, I'm kind of a dum dum. I don't know everything that could be the logical explanation for things, but I've had a few things where, wait a minute, do
Oh,
I,
hold on. You're breaking up. Okay, there you go.
am I back?
Yeah, you're back.
Yes, you're back. See, look, that was a ghost. That was a ghost saying, bitch,
Right. She was like,
you're talking about me, honey.
I've had moments where I'm like, wait a minute, that was an invisible human being. Like, I just saw a person disappear in front of me. So I don't know how you can explain that.
I've
But I
seen that
think
happen too before. A human disappear, and that was my dad. when I was really,
Whoa.
really young. But
I just was filming an episode of my new series, which is called The Haunted Doll on YouTube. And I always have hated when you watch ghost hunting shows and they're like, I just felt something. And I'm always watching at home like, bitch, I
What
can't
the fuck?
see that's that. I don't care. But the lights are out and this this room that was haunted by a man, all of a sudden I just like felt like a very cold, it just seemed like a man right up in my business. And it made me free. Like I was so in shock, I could barely even like move.
Mhm.
And I was like too afraid, like what happens if I move? Like is the ghost gonna move? Like I don't know, but I couldn't see anything. So like something like that, I'm like, God, I am very skeptical. If someone told me this, I'd be like, well, maybe, but having experienced it myself, I'm like, I don't know how to explain that.
I
yeah,
had a
I've had.
ghost story one time. Here you go. You want to go ahead?
No, you go. You go.
I had this ghost story one time. It was when right after me and Trinity were living together. You had moved out of the house, but me and Aubrey still stayed in the house. And my friend Callie was living with us too. So it was three of us. Aubrey was sleeping. My friend Callie was in my bedroom, and we were playing Mortal Kombat on the bed. And you know how like when the light is on in a room, but then it's dark, the lights are off in another room. It's so bright that you can't see what
Mm-hmm.
the room looks like on the other side. Well, the door was cracked and we were playing video games and the door literally just went like this. Like it just opened out of nowhere. And I know that's when the skepticism, whatever comes in. You're like, okay, maybe it was the air conditioning when it turned on, it sucked the door closed or something like that, or opened. But I got really scared because, like, you know how when they say sometimes, like, you can feel a presence, the hairs on your neck stick up.
Mm-hmm.
That's what was happening to me and my friend Callie. We looked over at each other and we're like, "Did you just see that?" And I got scared, so I grabbed my shoe. I got,
What are you
I
gonna
got
do
up.
with a shoe?
Well, I got up out of there and I got up off the bed and I said, I like threw it and into the other room, and then we both looked at each other, and my friend Callie was like, "What should we do?" And I looked at her and I said, I said something out loud. I said, if someone is here, make your presence known. And I swear to God, this loud thumping noise on the other side of my wall to my bedroom thumped really, really loud. And what's crazy is I got up, you're looking at me like I'm crazy. And that's weird because you're a ghost hunter.
Me?
Yes.
No, I believe you.
Um, but we got up and we went to the other side of the room because we heard the loud thumping noise. And that it freaked us out because I thought somebody had broke into our house and was like playing with us. And the way that the other side of the room was, it was our living room, but most of our furniture had been gone because Trinity had moved out and she had most of the furniture. So the room was mainly empty. And so nobody was on that side of the room. And
Where were your cats? Roz, don't let her fool you. She had two
no,
cats.
this was a thumping noise, bitch. Somebody banged on the wall. So then I stepped back from the wall and I looked at the wall and I felt this cold presence just in the middle of the room, just in the middle. And it was freezing
Until it was
cold.
me haunting you, because I had we had a fallen out, and I had moved out all of my furniture. That was my spirit coming to you like, bitch, you don't have a couch. You
We
don't
had
have
a
a
couch,
couch.
bitch.
I hope you're enjoying playing Mortal Kombat on the rug.
It was the ghost of the couch.
That part. So like that part, that was probably one of the scariest moments because like after that happened and we felt the cold um energy in the middle of the room, we literally checked the other side of the house. We asked my friend Aubrey if she was fucking with us. She was asleep with her boyfriend, and we checked the outside of her house. We looked around, we checked everything, and there was no explanation to what this loud thumping noise was, the door opening, or the cold presence of whatever that was. So it
Did you
scared the
ever
shit
have
out of me.
anything else happen there?
Um, we ended up getting severe black mold under our sink.
This is
bad.
like we lived in, this was in Louisville, Kentucky. We had moved there for a job. I don't know if you ever been to Louisville. There used to be a
Yeah.
humongous club called Connection.
Okay.
And it was like one of the biggest nightclubs in the US in the 90s. And we had moved up there to be on cast, and we just rented this old house. And
It
so
was old.
it was just old, honey.
But it was just
Oh,
weird. The black mold was like uncontrollable. It was like almost like something evil was like growing with it. I don't know. We wound up getting out of our lease because it was so bad, and we threatened. We were like, listen, if you don't get us out of our lease, we're gonna sue you. So I mean, that's the only thing that I could think of that was a little suspicious.
uh-huh.
But yeah,
I love it. I
Well,
love it. I think my thing with like when you talk about like being a paranormal investigator, I'm like, I'm a detective. Like, here's the thing: the people are already dead. I'm not trying to find like who killed or whatever. I'm like, I'm a detective. So if somebody's like, if you think about like a regular detective and they're like, and somebody's like, just hey, that's the killer over there. I'd be like, well, I have to go in there and question the person.
that killed
I have
you.
to dust for fingerprints. I'm not, you think I'm just gonna arrest this person? Like
you
I
gotta
got
prove
like
it right or wrong.
I'm gonna
Yeah.
put this person in prison for the rest of their life. Like, let me investigate. So that's just sort of my thing when it comes to like the skepticism or whatever. But I believe people's experiences, especially if I'm not there. I
Yeah.
almost believe it more because I'm like, I'm not there to be debunking things. I'm like, well, it's probably real. And I also understand that ghosts don't perform on command. So it's like I could go in there for 3 days and the ghost never comes out to play. That doesn't mean the ghost doesn't exist.
Yeah, and it was just so random. Like when I tell you I've never had, and I'm 36 years old, I've never had an experience like that in my whole life. Like when I tell you the door opening and then saying if there's someone here, make yourself known, and then banging on the wall like that, bitch, it scared the shit out of me.
You
I'm
need to stop playing Mortal Kombat, bitch.
I
Stop
want to talk
playing.
about being a drag queen in Louisville. Louisville.
Oh,
At
girl.
least you say it right. You got to say
That's
it with a
more
big bag
interesting
of
to
dicks in your
me
mouth.
than
Well, let me tell you what. So we did this back in 2015. I was there. Our contracts were for a year. I was there for a year and I moved back to Florida. Chantel still lives in Louisville. I don't know why, but she still lives there.
You
I
always got to get me
love
together.
it there. I mean, I've only been there. I spent 2 weeks there when I was doing the TV show that I was on that is no longer available for anyone to see anywhere. But
Are you talking about Living for the Dead?
yes, we did 2 weeks there and we did
Did you
go
do it at the asylum?
yeah, it's not an asylum. It was a tuberculosis hospital.
Yes, that place.
Yeah, the Waverly Hills Sanatorium. We did that one, and then we also did I think it's the Palace Theater. Um, and then we just kind of stayed there and had like downtime too. And I fell in love with it.
Good. Yes. That place I heard is like one of the scariest places in the world.
Which oh
The tuberculosis
yeah.
hospital. Because they
Yeah,
used to take all the bodies and just like throw them down in the bottom.
yeah, yeah. It
Did
was
you have
Wow.
any experiences while you were there?
yeah, that's actually the place where I saw, I think the only time really I've ever seen something like this, which was it was like a white person running. I saw just like
Why she
and
got to
by
be
white
white?
well, but I say that because head to toe, it was like white. It was like a
Yeah.
white figure. And it
Mm,
was just like running and then disappeared in front of me. Cause like the hallways are
Crazy.
like really big there. And
absolutely not. That
it-
see that scares the shit out of me. I used to, what was that paranormal show that was like the start of all of those paranormal shows where they would go out to all these different places. I can't remember the name of it.
there was Ghost Hunters was
Yeah,
I
I
think
swear it
the
was that.
first one.
It might have been that one. I don't
There's
remember,
been a
but
lot.
whatever it was when I was like, in my early teens, I would watch that show, and whatever show it was, they made it seem super scary. Like they would go to these kind of places like what you're describing, and it would freak me out just even just watching it.
I know. They're
Oh.
good at that.
But for for Living for the Dead, you were nominated for a GLAAD award for that. So you said you can't find it anywhere now. Like they took it off
No,
of.
it was a Hulu show, and it was on Disney Plus, but
Oh, fierce.
not a lot of people heard about it to begin with. And then it came out last October. And then just like 2 days ago, they took it off the platform completely. But it
Oh.
was the first LGBTQ cast, and one of the very few TV shows to have a trans lady at the center of the poster.
Yeah.
But it no longer even exists right now. So
Do you know why they took it off?
I don't.
Damn.
Because we're in
But
America, and
guess what? There's now a new show 100% funded by a trans lady, and it's hosted by a trans lady, and it's called The Haunted Doll. And it's the only show you can see with a trans lady of color that is also a stand-up comedian being silly and going in high heels to haunted places all by herself and with a guy from Grindr every episode.
I fucking live.
that is so fun. Have
It
you
is
been
the
to Hotel
gayest paranormal
Cecil?
show you can imagine.
Have you done Hotel Cecil yet?
No, I have zero interest. That it's so funny. That comes up constantly in my life. But as a comedian, it's already tricky to find the funny in like dead people.
Yeah.
But that place, it's like all suicides and horrible murders and drug overdose. Like there's like what I love is like unnatural causes.
Yeah, that's
like
a lot of darkness.
random, like, or it's the best for me, where it's just like they say that a woman died in this room and she's looking for her husband in the 1700s. I'm like, perfect. But when it's like 5 years ago somebody died by suicide, sorry, I can't. It's so hard to make funny, and it's just dark.
Yeah, I mean, I can see how that would not be your vibe, because like if you're a comedian specifically, it's probably like a lot more lighthearted. And I've watched a documentary on the Hotel Cecil, and it is just like I would not want to be there. I remember hearing, and there's a woman who went missing there, and they could not find her body. And they finally, somebody was doing, like, I think it was a maintenance guy. There was a problem with the smell of the water or something.
Even worse, the taste.
Yeah, the taste.
Was this the lady that was put inside the water heater?
Yes, the water tank.
Oh, bitch.
And people were like drinking this water, brushing their teeth with this, showering with this water.
I'm putting this
like,
up.
Is that not insane? Like that. So yeah, I could see how that wouldn't be like as lighthearted.
Yeah, it's a hard one. You know what I've become so obsessed with? Sorry to change the subject, but just a few months ago, I have become obsessed with drag pageantry.
Oh yeah.
But I was a drag queen 5 to 7 nights a week in Los Angeles. I somehow still kept it a complete secret from drag fans, but I was like a full-time drag queen, and I did like commercials and stuff, and I would write jokes for drag queens, and I don't know, I did a lot of cool things as a drag queen, and I loved it. But I was like, I wouldn't say I was sloppy, but I was always just kind of like, if
you had fun with it,
fell off, who gives a shit? It's funny. So like pageantry to me was always like so intimidating because it was so like flawless. And I don't know, I just wasn't really that interested before. But then I don't know what happened, but a couple of months ago, I'm obsessed with drag pageantry, so much so that I'm like, I want to move to a place that is like one of these meccas of it. And I don't want to compete myself, because I'm not into like being flawless, and I feel like I would just fail miserably. It kind of goes back to that Ellen thing where I'm like, that's not me, so I can't even pretend. But I just love it. So I'm like, I just want to put like rhinestones on one of these bitches' dresses or something. I just want to like be around it.
Well, me and Trinity, Trinity owns EOI. She's part owner. I don't know if you know that Entertainer of the Year is one of the top.
Of course, I've like gotten so deep into all of this.
Yes, and so she owns it. I won 2 years ago in 2022, and we have it every year in Kentucky.
You should come
I
this
want to
year.
go.
It's coming up. You should come.
It's in November.
It's in November 7th, 8th, and 9th. So the 9th of November is the final night. You
And
should
I
come.
live here, so you're more than welcome to either, stay here or we can,
Maybe
figure something
I
out,
will.
whatever.
To be honest, I have to look at my schedule, but October is like super busy for me with like spooky things.
It's in November.
I know. So like November, I'm like, okay, now I can like take a little break.
Yeah.
And you can
But it's
save it
great.
on yourself.
EOI is super creative. It's all about it's not just pageantry. It's like, I'm sure you say you know what it is. So
Yeah.
it's definitely different compared to like your average pageant.
Yeah.
You'd love it.
I think to go back to what you were saying, like you used to not be into it and now you're into it. I feel like pageantry has became, it used to be the mecca of what, like the pinnacle of drag before TV drag became a thing. And
Yeah.
now it's kind of went like in the reverse. Now it's like the underground thing for drag. Like not a lot of people go support it like they used to. So now it's like a niche, like a really niche thing. So because the only reason to do it is if you do it like for a sport, because you don't get nationwide bookings like you used to do. Like the girls used to become superstars that
They
way.
would get on Jerry Springer, they would get on all these other TV shows and stuff right after they won.
But now it's not. Now it's not like that. So
And like everything comes and goes in waves.
Yeah.
And
history repeats.
Totally. And I personally like I agree with you, and I see what you mean for sure, but at the same time, when people are doing something for passion and not for fame and whatever, like you can feel how important it is to these people. You can see how much money was spent.
Yeah.
And I especially love like this idea of doing honestly, I think drag pageantry is why I decided to do this YouTube thing, because I'm seeing these performers, like they're the ones that are doing the choreography, or at the very, like, maybe they're not the ones directly making their outfit.
But you definitely are in charge of your
it's their vision.
Yeah.
They're doing the whole thing themselves, and they're the face of it.
At the end of the day, if it blows up, it's because of that person.
Yeah. And that's what I've been feeling too with my YouTube, where I'm like, oh my God, I have no one to blame if this goes wrong. But it's like, it still is putting this pressure on me to rise to the occasion. And I don't know, I just find that so like beautiful. And I think it's easy for drag, especially me having done it as my full-time job and seeing, I believe with drag queens that if you hate it, like if you're a drag queen and you're like so sick of it, like you can't succeed, because it takes so much out of you.
Yeah.
And so when I see the people that are like, this is exactly where they belong, they are like the happiest they can be, like that to me is so inspirational.
Yeah.
And it's like, I just love watching it.
I love that for you. I love that you love pageantry.
I want to be a judge. I want to be a host. I want to be like something. I want to just like be around it.
Yes, come on, bitch. Let's do it.
Well, it is very like even as a like I don't compete anymore, but being a competitor and going to pageants, you get that motivation, like what you're saying. You get that energy from other people who are that motivated. It's like, okay, now I want to do a pageant. Now like after watching this, now I want to go do this pageant.
The energy too in the room is infectious. Like it really makes you feel like you're like, okay, yeah, like you said, I want to do it.
Well, and it's like this weird thing where you would think that the stakes are so high when it involves shitloads of money and like fame and whatever. And it is, but it's a different thing where the stakes are so high because you've spent so much money, and like you have to, that's the thing. That's how I always feel with like spending money where it's like, I spent this money, this has to work.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's like, you feel that from the competitors, and I just love it. And I'm like so fascinated by anyone that does it. And
Have you ever thought about like to compete?
no, never. I yeah,
You could do stand up for your talent.
Yeah, you would slay.
yeah, you know, I just
You
I
just need 2 pageant fairy drag mothers to get you together with the gowns and things. You already have the talent and
We
you're
have the gowns, we
beautiful.
got the fashions, we
Yeah,
got
you're
the
already
makeup, we got
beautiful.
the
You just need
hair.
us to like, whip you around
It's
and
gonna be toddlers and tiaras, bitch.
yes,
love
honey.
that. Well, here's like, so some of my journey with drag is like, loved it, loved it, loved it. And then I started being like, okay, wait, I'm like trans. And I was doing stand-up comedy as a drag queen in like comedy clubs. As a drag queen, I like followed Dave Chappelle and like just ran like very weird situations as a drag queen. And it was really hard because the audience couldn't connect with me, and I was like, it was just hard because it just wasn't authentic for me, like I was like, this is close but it's not it. So then
Yeah.
when I transitioned, things like got way better with the stand up. But so then I had like this period of time where I was like, I am like not a drag queen. Like I just need to stay away from that identity and just explore being trans and a comedian and being with all the comedians. And that was great. But then time started going on and I'm like, I'm a local drag queen. Like that is like who I am on the inside. And I love like glue and rhinestones on shit. And I would say the past like 2 years, I have just been obsessed with like essentially almost becoming a drag queen again. Like I use my own hair, but I'm like, God damn, I wear so
Sparkly
much
things.
razzle
Embellish.
dazzle.
Yeah.
Yes, I just
But
love razzle dazzle.
maybe that's not necessarily like the drag coming out. Maybe that's just like because you're a girl. Like, you just like sparkly things, you like frilly
But I
things.
love over the top.
Yeah.
It's like I don't like everyday life when it comes to that kind of stuff. Like I want a show. I want to see sparkles, and I want like, I don't know. I just love it. I love camp. I love all of that. And so like I work with a lot of drag queens nowadays, and like as time has gone on, I'm like, bring me back there. Like I
Yeah.
just really miss that. I also miss like the content that you can talk about, like
Oh, girl, that's long gone now, honey. You like
Yeah, they've shut that shit
to,
down,
to,
like Kmart.
to be, to be an old school drag queen and be able to do drag banter, girl. That
Everyone takes something
I love to
personal.
host, and girl, I had to edit what I said because especially what with like drag race fans, which are not necessarily drag fans, they want you to be Disney princesses, and
Right.
like you have to like almost censor everything. It's for you, it's different because you are stand up and you can get away with a lot more.
You got the stamp.
But girl, like do it like hosting tours or shit like they want you to you can't say anything, bitch. Everything is offensive. That leads me to I am curious because you are so popular as a comic and you're trans. How is that being in that world? Like, are you just only? Do you feel like you're just only in like the queer comedian world, or do like you said you followed
Dave
these other
Chappelle.
major uh comedians, like how is that with you being
Well, I mean, it's been a lot of exploring over the years, and I started, so to pay my bill, like I loved drag, but also like local comedy in Los Angeles is not a way to make money, especially if you're unknown. And so like I would do the drag gigs, like I would go do stand up at like a comedy club or whatever in Los Angeles, and then I would go
do your show?
make money and
Yeah.
do
Yeah.
drag, but I was in drag the whole time.
Mhm.
And it was like really challenging, and I've dealt with a lot of like homophobia, transphobia, whatever. But then like especially post-pandemic, it's more scenes have opened up in Los Angeles, but also just around. Like there's way more, because I've been doing stand-up for I think like 11 or 12 years, and there's just way more LGBTQ, all like any of the letters comedians now. Like there used to, it
Yeah.
used to be like way smaller, and there would only be like LGBT night, and like that's when you would kind of
Yeah.
all be together. But now there's just like way more opportunities and way more accepting audiences, and then there's like the more mainstream audiences that it's just separated. And I stick with the audiences where it's kind of like I don't know, just more progressive audiences. It doesn't really matter if you're straight or gay or whatever.
Yeah.
I see that too.
So I love that, but I have been wanting to get like closer and closer to like the drag world and stuff. And so like there's this show that I've hosted, and I'm gonna host again soon, with, because I love the old bitches. So it's Coco Peru, Jackie Beat, Sherry Vine,
The
and
icons.
Oh,
Carly
the
Queen.
icons.
Yeah. So it's them, and then I'm
You're
the
hosting that?
yeah. And then
You
I'm
better work.
also working with Bob on his tour, and I just feel so like at home with the
Yeah,
drag.
because they have that old school banter, like that
Yeah.
before Drag Race, like where we were able to be like stupid
Kind
and
of
funny,
shady
but
to
not
each
be serious
other.
and shade and vulgar. I miss that. I miss vulgarity. That's what I miss. I am a perv and
She's a slut.
a horrible mouth.
You're a
I'm horrible.
slut.
I'm
My
Son of-
fantasy, like this might sound crazy, but this is my fantasy. My fantasy is I want to move to a place, probably like Louisville or one of these places in Florida. Where do you live, Trinity?
I live in Orlando.
Maybe Orlando. I don't know. I want to move someplace where like drag pageantry. I want to move places where there's like a cast. Like when you talk about that, like you were on a cast, like we don't have that here in Los Angeles.
To be
And
honest, I feel like it's hard in general to find that.
Yeah, there's very few like really what we used to think of as casts in the States. Although Louisville does have play, they do have a cast. In Orlando, they have Southern. So there are a couple here and there,
Or
but like you said,
sporadically.
in LA,
I
it's
think the
all
Rose
very,
Room too in Dallas.
yeah, I was
oh
just
yes.
there. I was just there. It was fear that if you're looking for a place, Texas, that pageantry casts, old school drag right there. That might be your stop, Dallas. And I think that all that you're right there. Doesn't Austin have a good comedy scene too?
I think
Yeah,
so.
I was just in Austin doing a show and I loved it.
If you're looking for pageantry though, like out of the two places that you listed, I think you would like Florida because Florida is the heart of pageantry
I mean, it's in it, like trans women down. Like,
everywhere.
the pinnacle of beauty and all that. Actually, I'm going to this coming Monday to one of the most iconic drag pageants
Miss
ever.
Florida?
Miss Florida, which is what Miss
Yes.
Continental is which Miss Continental is based off of Miss Florida.
It's fierce.
one of the oldest pageants in the world.
See,
I'm not entering, I'm just going to watch.
before I make plans for the rest of my life, I want to go to my first pageant because I might go and be like, wait, I fucking hate this. But no, I'm pretty sure I'm obsessed with it. But either way, my dream is to move someplace like that. And I don't even necessarily know that I want to like be on the cast or anything, but I just want to like just be around.
Be in the vibe, be in the
I
mix.
just want
Of
to be around it all the time. I just want to like see razzle dazzle, and I want to just see like a drag queen with French tip nails and a cigarette.
Yes, old school.
And fucking fringe down their tit.
That's what I want. That's what I
Yeah.
fantasize about every day.
Well, Roz, this has been so much fun getting to know a little bit more about you. I am excited to see more of your stuff. I need to catch up on your YouTube channel. But if you decide that you want to see a pageant,
Come to
seriously,
EOY.
reach out to Chantel about coming to Louisville for EOY. Chantel's like a huge fan. She's like she's the one that was like, we have to have her. So definitely keep in touch. We would love to, whether it be in Louisville or you come to Orlando. You know, I have a guest room. She has a couch with cat hair. In either way, you're welcome.
Yeah.
Oh my God, you're so sweet. Thank you. I'm literally going to take it seriously about possibly going to EOY.
Yes.
Well, thank you so much. I hope everybody listening catches you. Where can they find you on social media?
Yeah, my Instagram, I'm mainly on Instagram. It's just at Roz Hernandez. And I'm just really trying to get the word out about my YouTube series. Cause again, I'm just like doing it myself. I'm like, I'm not dealing with a network. I'm just like, why not just do it myself? I bought cameras. I tried to figure all this shit out. I'm paying for everything. But I don't know. It's like fun, and it's also just like different. It's like a different vibe. It's a funny ghost hunting show, and it's a super gay one, and it's called The Haunted Doll on YouTube. And yeah, I'm like touring and whatever, doing stand up. So check me out.
Yeah.
So excited. Yeah. And we'll post you too. We'll post like some clips for and link your YouTube there, because I want to see. This sounds like a great show. I need to definitely see.
The clips on Instagram are so funny.
Comedy, ghosts, it all sounds good. But thank you everybody for listening this week for I Live for This podcast. Until next time, we'll talk to you later.
Okay, bye.